Does your child have an IEP or need one? Then you've come to the right place. If they have special education or they need it, then your child might be getting IQ testing. But what does this mean? What does it look like? And how do you prepare? Take a deep breath. I've got you. Inside this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of IQ testing as a special education advocate and as a school psych, so you can know what it looks like, how to prepare, how to read it, and how to get the right testing for your child so you can advocate like a pro. Hey, what's up? I'm April Rarick, your special education advocate and school psych, to make IEPs and 504 plans so much easier. If you're new here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button to get more videos like this in your inbox, and follow us on Instagram at RiseEdAdvocacy. Here's what you need to know about IQ tests and special education. Before we dive in, we first need to talk about the basics. You ready? Let's do this. Individual education plans, also known as IEPs, are regulated under IDEA law. The problem is if your child has an IEP or needs one, as parents, we aren't given the instructions or directions to know what to do and how to get it, especially when it comes to IQ testing. So here's something that your school may not tell you. If your child attends public school, they can't just get IQ testing by a general education teacher. Someone like me, the school psychologist, needs to do IQ testing, also known as cognitive assessments. And this is a very specialized assessment that the school psychologist needs to be either licensed and or credentialed in order to give. So the problem is because you don't have all the information, and everybody else on the IEP team, if you've been to an IEP meeting before, has the information, it is so overwhelming and so frustrating. That's exactly why I want to give you your very first resource. It talks about the reasons why you would need your child to get a special education assessment. What am I talking about? I'm talking about if your child needs IQ testing, needs a psychoeducational assessment, which is a type of special education assessment done by me, the school psychologist, then you need to know why. Why do they need an assessment, and when is a good time? More about this in just a minute. So go ahead and grab that link in the description box below that lays out the 10 reasons. Because the truth of the matter is, pro tip, it's not just being eligible for special education why you would need IQ testing. There's so many more reasons. For example, if you need more information when it comes to processing, if your child is regressing or not making progress, if the team needs more information, before your team decides to change your child's placement under something called LRE. Oh my goodness, there are so many reasons why it's so imperative that you know about IQ testing when it comes to special education assessments. Are you ready to dig deeper? Let's do this. Yes! So we've talked a little bit about why your child might need IQ testing is part of a special education assessment. This is also known, pro tip, as the reason for referral. Now it's time to dig into when. What am I talking about? I'm talking about what I mentioned earlier. When it comes to special education, it isn't just randomly that your child gets IQ testing. There is a cycle for when things happen, whether it's an initial IEP, a triennial IEP, a reevaluation, or even what's called a supplemental assessment. Make sure to grab my free guide, The Special Education Cycle, that goes into more detail in terms of what happens and when with IEP meetings, progress monitoring, all the different types of assessments. I also want to point out this video that I talk deeper about the special education cycle in terms of what happens and when, so that you can feel better when it comes to IEP advocacy. And ultimately, you don't have to go into the meeting feeling totally overwhelmed and leaving the IEP and being like, oh man, that was really bad. Let's make it better. Make sure to grab those links in the description box below. So now it's time to talk about exactly why you're watching this video, specifically digging in deep when it comes to IQ test scores. So go ahead and check out this bell curve right here. Let's go over it together. So when your child has IQ testing or any kind of special education assessment for that matter, you know exactly what this means. When you look at the bell curve, you'll notice that at the very top, it goes up high. This means that typically most students are going to score within this range here, which is considered in the average range. Then you're also going to see if you move over to the right, these are going to be standardized test scores that are going to be above the average range, then significantly above the average range. And then on the other side of the bell curve, that's going to be below average range and significantly below average. Here's something that your school psych may not tell you. Pro tip. You're going to want to look for in IQ testing how your child is scoring comparing to themselves. What am I saying? I'm saying that you don't want to look at everybody else. We're talking about your child. So you want to look at where things go on the standardized test score or on the bell curve. Is there scatter? Is all the scores together? Do you see something like a typical profile for a learning disability, which means some areas of strength, some areas of weakness, or with kids with ADHD, for example, that they exhibit a lot of high scores, but the actual performance scores, meaning how they're doing in the classroom, are so much lower than the IQ scores. That's exactly why this bell curve is so important. So you can think about your child and exactly what your child needs. So let's go over 4 terms now that we've talked a little bit about the bell curve so you can know what it means when it comes to IQ testing. The first thing we want to talk about is something called standardized test score. A standardized test score is how your child performs on the IQ testing or any type of testing in terms of the relations with all the other kids. So scores between 90 and 109 are typically considered average, but it depends on the measure that's used. The next thing I want to talk about, number 2, has to do with percentile rank. This is down below if you take a look at it on the graphic there, and that has to do with scores between 0 and 100 in terms of your child's percentile. So for a percentile rank, you'll want to look for average scores between 25th and 75th percentile. Now here's where things get interesting. The next thing I want to talk about, number 3, has to do with composite scores. So on the IQ testing, you're going to see overall how your child scores in terms of several of the scaled scores put together. More about this in just a minute in terms of their overall IQ score, the range, in terms of the overall several subtests together. That is going to be the composite score. So when your school psychologist is talking to you about their overall IQ is this score, which by the way, pro tip, should be a range and not just a number, that's what they're talking about, the composite scores. The last thing I want to talk about is the band or the area. So this is where things get really interesting. So each IQ test is going to have a certain band. What I put in the graphic there is the typical one that's used, but perhaps your speech and language therapist is going to have one band for what they considered average range, but your school psych, depending on the measure that's used, is going to have a different band. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you that you need to understand how to read a school psych assessment like a pro. What am I also saying? I'm also saying that you need to understand how to read a school psych assessment like a school psych would be. Make sure to check out my video that lays out how to read a school psych assessment like a pro and how to look for all the things that me, like a school psychologist, would look for and an advocate. Make sure to grab that link in the description box below. Speaking of tools, are you interested in getting that bell curve that I just showed you? Make sure to check out an IEP and 504 meeting toolkit. It's something that I bring as a special education advocate to every single one of my IEP or 504 meetings. And here's why it's so awesome. is that I pull out the standardized test score here. I also have in there a description of percentile ranks and standardized test scores and definitions, when to refer your child for testing. I pull this out every IEP meeting that I go to. And even though it's a digital guide, I print it out. And when I bring it up at the IEP table and I pull this out, it changes the dynamics. Instead of us against them at the IEP table, my family feels empowered and we can look at this guide. Make sure to grab the link in the description box below, because let's face it, IEPs are difficult. It's time we make them easier, don't you think?
Yay!
So now you have all of this information. Now it's time to take action. What am I talking about? How do you ask for IQ testing? Specifically, how do you ask for a psychoeducational assessment? Whether it's an initial assessment, a triennial assessment, or even a supplemental evaluation. And here's the truth, pro tip. Unless you know how to qualify for your child to get the IEP that they deserve, in the eligibility that they need, and in the testing that they need, more about this in just a minute, they're not going to get it. So make sure to check out my video, how to qualify for an IEP, that tells you the 3 secrets as a school psych that any child that needs special education or specific eligibility or even a related service needs to meet in order to qualify. Grab that link in the description box below. Speaking of testing, let me ask you something. If you're thinking about IQ testing for your child, if you're thinking about that you want to get the testing started, the truth is you need to put it in writing, and you need to write a very specific letter in order to tell the team, first of all, I would like my child tested in these specific areas. I would like these types of assessments. Pro tip, you can't ask for a specific type of test, but you can certainly ask for an area. So if you want to go down the road, whether it's your child's initial IEP testing, whether it's a triennial, or you want to update the IQ testing, you need to know how to write a very powerful letter. That's exactly why I want you to check out my additional testing request letter template. It's a digital guide. Let me tell you why it's a game changer. Because as a school psychologist, I would get so many letters, and the families would struggle to know what to put into the letter, what areas they were asking for in terms of the testing. And this is exactly a how-to guide with a fillable template. So you don't have to stress. You can name the specific eligibilities you're looking at. You can name the type of evaluations you would like, which type of assessors. Make sure to grab it in the link in the description box below. It's the same template that I use with all my families as a special education advocate. And it's what exactly, honestly, I wanted to use as a special education school psych, because I would get these letters all the time and I'm like, oh my gosh, parent, what would you like? And tell me what you're looking for in testing. Make sure to grab those links in the description box below. So now you know so much more when it comes to IQ testing, specifically the secrets when it comes to what an IQ test looks like, how to refer your child for testing, when to refer your child, and you have so many more tips and tools in your resource box. Let me ask you something. Now that you're thinking about all this, what's the one thing that you want to do first? Do you have a question? Do you want me to do more videos on specific IQ tests? Yes, I can. Make sure to put it in the link in the description box below. Want me to do another video? Absolutely. Put it there too, and let's start the conversation when it comes to IQ testing. Make sure to like and subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox, and follow us on Instagram at RiseEdAdvocacy. Grab all those links below so you can feel so much better at your child's or student's IEP meeting. I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate and school psych. I can't wait to see you for our next video.